Hello, my friends. This is Renee Mysliwiec, the Zesty Life Mentor, with another Mentoring Moments with Renee message for you. So, I want to talk about self-love. And I want to talk about how are you speaking to yourself? Do you know that you truly are your own mentor? You are. You're your own mentor. You get to teach yourself how to move forward. You get to teach yourself how to think and how to believe and what to do to create your life. But sometimes we get stuck in really old patterns. And oftentimes they can be generational patterns. And those patterns don't always serve us very well. And we can begin to feel bad about ourselves and speak bad about ourselves. So I want to come to you today to talk to you about how are you speaking to yourself? Do you praise yourself every day? Do you tell yourself that you're super grateful for the body that you have, the mind that you have, the way that you can think, the way that you process, the way that you move forward in your life, and the good that you do in the world? Do you talk about those things? Do you declare to yourself the truth about who you really are? Do you do that? The reason I want to talk to you about this is because I don't think very many people do this. I really don't. I think that most people get stuck in the pattern of either perfectionism or just forgetting to celebrate all the stuff that you do good. And I know as a recovering perfectionist myself, I didn't celebrate. I didn't. I went from goal to goal to goal. I was like, oh, okay, met that one, go to the next one. Oh, okay, got that one, go to the next one, and just kept going. And if I failed at a goal, oh man, I was hard on myself, really hard on myself. Yeah, really hard on myself. I can't say that I ever said really horrible, bad things to myself. I just don't do that. I don't say horrible, bad things to other people. I don't say it to myself. But I think I said things more like, well, you should have been able to do that. That shouldn't have been so hard for you. What did you do? Like, why did you fail at that? Instead of saying, hey, that's okay. Look what I learned. Wow, I learned so many things from that little failure, that little experiment that I did. I learned so much. So what am I going to do next? Like, how am I going to experiment the next time? And, we beat ourselves up when we think we haven't accomplished enough, or we think we didn't do it good enough, or we think we didn't please someone enough. And oftentimes we didn't please ourselves, or we think we didn't please God. And do you know what I have learned? God is happy when you progress. He doesn't expect you to be perfect. He doesn't. Our Father in heaven is a generous, kind, loving God. And He is just so happy with His children as we progress, as we move forward, and as we don't give up. And if we get to that place where we feel like we're going to give up, I'm telling you, He is the most encouraging Father in heaven. He is so encouraging. There was a time in my life when I did want to give up. I really did. And I've talked about this on other videos, but there was a time when I really did not want to be here. I felt like life was too painful. It's too painful. It was too hard. I'm not somebody that gives up. I am not somebody that gives up. But at this time, I'd gone through a divorce. It wasn't my choice to give up on that marriage, but my spouse chose to give up. And I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get him to realize that none of our problems were big enough for divorce. And he wanted to give up. And so I had to deal with that. And I didn't deal with it very well for a long time. It was hard. It was really hard. And not long after that, I was away from all of my children. I had a few grown children, but I had 2 other children at home. And I have 7 children altogether. So I had 2 married and 2 off to college and 1 living in Arizona and 2 at home. And all of a sudden, my life was completely changed, and I had no husband and no job. And I had found out that I was struggling with thyroid disease, and my kids didn't want to come live with me. They did not want to follow me to St. George where I wanted to go. And so I ended up living in a little tiny casita all by myself. And I was very angry, very, very angry, and so sad, beyond despair. And I could not see how things were going to get any better, because I had been trying and trying and trying, and they weren't getting better. And my heart didn't think I could take much more. And I felt like if I just laid down, I would die. Like if I just laid down and said, God, I'm done, and I just gave up, that my spirit would just fly out of my body, and I'd be in heaven. I'd go, because I didn't want to be here. And I asked him one day, literally asked him, I said, nope, I'm done. I'm not going to go through this anymore. It's much too hard. I can't handle it. I feel very unloved and unwanted and rejected by everyone practically in my life. And I am just going to go to bed, and I'm just going to crawl under the covers, and I'm not going to wake up. And I just want you to take me. You just take me in the middle of the night. And that's what I told him. I really did. And I still remember to this day what that felt like. That was about 8 years ago. But the next day, when I woke up, I was not a happy camper, because I did not want to be waking up. I wanted to know that I was done. And he said to me, you're not done. You have things to do. You have a lot of things to do. And life will get better, I promise. And one day you will understand why you went through all this. And so, would you please stay, daughter? Would you please stay? And I had to think about that very seriously, but I finally decided, okay, if you say that it's going to be done and life is going to start getting better, then I'll stay. And it wasn't very long after that I had some pretty incredible experiences, and a really great mentor came into my life, and things started to get better. So I want to tell you that I learned a lot about mindset. I learned a lot about what we speak to ourselves and what we tell ourselves, how powerful that is, and what it does to us, to our life. Like, we are the creators of our life. And sometimes the things that we fear the most are the things we end up experiencing, because we are so focused on what we're fearing that that's what we're creating. And I learned so much about the mind and how my mind worked and how God worked with me and the opposition and all of these things. And I learned how to move through those difficult transitional periods of life. I learned how to work through the growth experience and how to do it simply and easily so that I could enjoy life, so that I could feel joy instead of pain and sorrow. And so I want you to think about what it is you're talking to yourself about. Like, really pay attention. What is it that you tell yourself on a daily basis? What do you tell yourself when you finished a project? Like, do you celebrate? Do you celebrate, my friends? Do you tell yourself, great job that you did on that project? You were so amazing. You were so awesome. Do you tell yourself that? Or do you just go from one place to the next? Do you celebrate the people in your life? Do you celebrate your spouse? And do you celebrate your kids? Because most of the time we celebrate other people, but we don't celebrate ourselves. So one thing that I learned is that we teach other people how to treat us. We do. So if you're treating yourself like your accomplishments don't mean anything, and you're not truly celebrating them, you might be excited on the inside, but you don't outwardly show it, then you teach other people to treat you that way too. You teach other people to not celebrate you. You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. You want the world to celebrate you. We want to celebrate each other. You know, I love so much right now the way my life is. And I live an amazing, incredible, abundant, beautiful life. And one thing that I love so much is that several of my kids are on a similar journey as I am. And so we celebrate each other all the time. Like, we call each other and we talk about it and we celebrate our mistakes. We celebrate the successes, and we talk each other through the walls and the mountains that we meet. And so when we've got obstacles in our path and we don't know how to get past those, we mentor each other and we mentor ourselves. So as we learn to mentor ourselves, we work through it and the best we can. And then at some point, if we feel like, okay, wait, there's more, I need help, then I call one of them, because I know what incredible mentors they are. And I call them and say, hey guys, help me through this. And they do. They help me through it. And they call me too. And we work through stuff. And so I just wanted to get on here and talk to you about this because it's super important. It is so important that we celebrate ourselves and that we mentor ourselves and that we recognize what it is that we're talking to ourselves about. You know, if we're saying stuff like, well, nothing good ever happens to me, so why should I try? Or, you know, life just never gets better. Or, you know, I can't seem to succeed in anything. If we say stuff like that, oh my gosh, that's the life we're creating for ourselves. Every time we say something that is degrading, or every time we say something that is limiting it is actually limiting our success. You know, if you're thinking, well, you know, I've tried for years and years and years and it just doesn't get better. If you say stuff like that, that's what you're going to continue getting over and over and over again. And how do I know this? Because I subconsciously said those things to myself and I didn't even know I was doing it. Like, I really wasn't conscious of it because I typically didn't say it out loud, but every once in a while I did. And when I began to recognize what it was that was going on in my subconscious, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder I've been stuck in this place of going through the same things over and over again for 9 years. What do I want? I want something different. I want something beautiful. I want a magnificently zesty, abundant life. And I can't really create that if I'm speaking this negative talk to myself, even if it's subconscious. So when you begin to recognize what it is that you're saying and what you're believing and what you're hearing, because if your subconscious is telling you, you're going to be hearing it. Or if the opposition is telling it to you, those naysayers out there are saying things to you. Well, got hairs up here that are driving me crazy. So if you are saying those things to yourself, then, like I just did, they're driving me crazy. Okay? You say, oh no, I got I got it going on. I got the best haircut ever and I look great. You know, you say stuff like that, well then you can literally create that in your life. But if you say other stuff, okay, then you're going to create that. So my friends, I want you to think about what is it that you say to yourself and what do you listen to, the old programming that's going on in your subconscious mind that came from somewhere, you know, experience as a child or whatever, and you listening to that all day and you're acknowledging it and believing it. So I'm going to tell you some tricks, okay? These really helped me. To change that, number one, write a list of all the things that you hear during the day in your mind that is not celebratory, that is negative, okay? And within your own mind. And then write another list of all the things that you think are more of like the adversary or opposition speaking to you, naysayers out in the public, whatever, speaking to you, that you take on, okay? And then what is it that you consciously say to yourself? Like, do you say things to yourself? We say things to ourselves all the time. So pay attention and write that down. So once you get your 3 lists, then you can recognize, oh, wow, look at what's going on. And then I want you to take another list and I want you to write those, instead of the nasty stuff that you're saying, I want you to turn it around and say the opposite of whatever it was. If you were saying to yourself, nothing ever good ever happens to me, then you're going to turn it around and you're going to say, everything good happens to me every day. And you're going to write that on your new paper. So you're going to write the opposite of every single negative that you say onto the paper. And when you get done and you have all those beautiful things on your paper that are the opposites of all the negatives that you've been saying or hearing, then you take those other papers, you keep the good one, okay, you keep that one, and you take the other ones and you shred them up or you burn them. Burning them is awesome. I love that. But if you can't burn it, then shred them up or rip it up and throw it in the garbage. And I literally, if I have to do it that way, I take it all the way out to the garbage can outside. So it's not even in my presence. And then you take the good one and you post that up on your wall. And you put that in your bathroom or you put it in your bedroom, put it by your vision board. And those are your declarations, because those things that you say that are the opposite help you retrain your brain and retrain your subconscious and repattern your life. So you can create whatever it is that you want. If you've been experiencing this negative cycle, don't you want it to stop, guys? Are you ready for it to be done? Because I was ready for it to be done. And I began this process and I started speaking those positives to myself every day. And I called them my declarations and I spoke them every single day, every single morning, and every single night. And I did that for months and months and months and months. Okay? And once I started a pattern of that, it became a habit. And so now when something pops up that's negative, I can recognize it and I can shut it down. I can say, that is not the truth. That is not the truth. And I switch it around and I speak the truth, just like I did with my hair. Okay? So you can do this and you can change your life. Change your mindset, change your life. It's super powerful and it is absolutely truth. So I just want to share that with you today. Ask yourself, what am I saying to myself? Because I'm telling you, you are magnificent. You are incredible. You are the most beautiful soul on the earth. Like you really are. You are an incredible, beautiful soul that can do magnificent things in the world. You can create some of the most wonderful good out there and shine your light on the world, and we'll see it. And we will be so enlarged and enriched because of your light. Do you know that? Your light is needed in this world. And you cannot dim it any longer by saying those nasty things to yourself. Because our world needs you. And you have something blessed and beautiful and glorious about you that you need to share with the world. So knock it off. Get rid of that negative and speak your declarations to yourself of who you truly are. And get out there and shine your light. Okay, guys, really, I'm serious. Do it, because we need you. The world needs your light. The world needs all of us. And you've got a message to share. I know you do. You've got a message, or you've got something to do, just like I have. This is my mentoring. This is my mission, and my passion is to help people learn how to have a freer, zestier, more fun, more abundant life. Let go of the old yucky stuff that you've been experiencing and have something new and beautiful and glorious and abundant. And so I leave this mentoring moment with you and wish you all the best in creating your beautiful declarations about the truth of who you really are. This is Renee Mysliwiec, the Zesty Life Mentor, saying good night.